I told you that the very storm that's breaking the economy right now
Okay.
is the exact same storm that's going to make some people filthy rich? Welcome back to The Wealth Code.
I'm Max.
And I'm Christy. And today, episode 47, we are going all in. No fluff, no motivational poster nonsense.
Right.
We are talking real strategies, real data, and real talk about what it takes to build six figures in 2026. In the middle of one of the most economically turbulent periods we've seen in years.
Today's episode is long, it's deep,
Yeah.
and it's probably going to make some of you uncomfortable. Good. Uncomfortable is where growth lives.
We've got 10, count them, 10 strategies to hit six figures this year.
Wow.
But before we get there, we need to talk about what's actually happening out there in the economy. Because if you don't understand the battlefield, you can't win the battle.
Let's get into it.
Okay, Max, let's set the scene. Because I've been talking to people, real people, friends, family, people in our community. And there is a genuine sense of fear out there right now. People are scared. So walk us through what's actually happening economically in 2026.
All right, so here's the macro picture. And I want to be very specific because I hate vague economic talk.
Good.
Let's use numbers. As of right now, March 2026, the U.S. is technically not in a recession. GDP growth is projected somewhere between 2.2 and 2.6% for the year.
Right.
Goldman Sachs is at 2.6, RSM is at 2.2. The Federal Reserve hasn't moved rates dramatically. They left them basically unchanged at their most recent meeting.
So, on paper, the economy is fine.
On paper, it looks okay. But that's the paper version. Here's the real version.
Okay.
And this is what NPR, Planet Money, the New York Times, and about every credible economic analyst is saying. We are living in what economists call a K-shaped economy. And a K-shape means the economy is splitting in two directions at the same time.
Explain that for the people who aren't deep in econ speak.
Think about the letter K. The top part of the K goes up. That's wealthy Americans, people invested in the stock market, people in AI and tech.
Yep.
They're doing phenomenally. Their portfolios are up, their companies are growing, their net worths have increased substantially over the past 2 years.
And the bottom part of the K?
Goes down. That's lower and middle income Americans, working class folks, people living paycheck to paycheck, Gen Z workers just entering the workforce.
Right.
These people are getting crushed by inflation that never fully went away, by tariffs on imported goods that have raised prices across the board, by a labor market where wage growth is slowing for lower wage workers.
Wow.
And now, the newest gut punch, by gas prices.
Let's talk about gas prices, because this is the thing everyone is feeling right now, physically, every single week.
Oh, we are absolutely talking about gas prices. Let me give you the numbers. As of March 2026, the national average for regular gasoline has surged to approximately $3.54 to $3.84 per gallon.
Wow.
That's up nearly $1 per gallon since February 28th when the U.S.-Israel attack on Iran began. That's a 26% year-over-year increase, according to sources like AAA and Reuters.
Jeez.
Here's what happened. At the end of February 2026, the U.S. and Israel launched military strikes on Iran. Iran retaliated and, critically, Iran effectively closed the Strait of Hormuz. Now, I want every listener to understand why that matters. The Strait of Hormuz carries approximately 1/5 of the entire global oil supply.
1/5. Gone from the market almost overnight.
And the pump price reflects that immediately.
Immediately. Oil crossed $90 a barrel. Some projections have it heading towards $100 or beyond. The national gas average jumped 27 cents in a single week at one point.
Right. And a Reuters Ipsos poll found that 55% of Americans say their household finances have been hit by rising gas prices.
Yeah.
And 87%, nearly 9 in 10 Americans, expect gas prices to go even higher.
87%? That's not pessimism. That's almost unanimity. People feel it coming.
And they're right to feel it. The U.S. Energy Administration is projecting higher crude and gasoline prices through 2026 and into 2027. Because of supply constraints.
Okay.
This isn't a blip. This is a sustained pressure point.
So let's have the real conversation here that most podcasts won't have. How does this hit the rich versus the poor differently?
Right. Because I think people assume, oh, gas prices go up, everyone suffers equally. But that's not true, is it? Not even close. This is one of the most important financial truths we can discuss. For a lower income household, let's say someone making $35,000 to $55,000 a year,
Okay.
gasoline is a massive percentage of their monthly budget. If they're spending $200 a month on gas and that jumps to $280 or $300, that could be the difference between making rent and not making rent. Bank of America's data shows that Gen Z, the youngest workers making the least money, have the highest ratio of gas spending to their total discretionary spending of any generation.
Because they're commuting for the first time, driving older, less fuel-efficient cars, getting paid entry-level wages.
Exactly. And here's the cruel irony.
Yeah?
Bank of America's data showed that Gen Z and millennials had just started to recover financially. For the first time in nearly 3 years, their spending growth was actually outpacing older generations.
Wow.
Wages were finally growing faster than rent for the first time in years. It was a genuine recovery moment.
And then, bam, gas prices wiped it out.
It's devastating timing. The BOA economists literally wrote that both Gen Z and millennials are most prone to cutting back on nice-to-have spending amid higher gasoline prices. $1 a gallon for someone making $40,000 is catastrophic relative to their budget.
And what about wealthy people? Walk us through how they experience the same gas spike.
Well, rich people feel it too, but it's a fundamentally different feeling. A Reuters analysis notes that higher gasoline prices in volatile stocks could hit both low and high-income consumers.
But
The mechanisms are completely different. For a high-income household making $200,000 or more, gas is a tiny fraction of their budget.
right.
Their bigger concern is what rising oil prices do to their investment portfolio, energy stocks, inflation expectations, Federal Reserve policy.
It's a financial concern versus an existential survival concern.
That's exactly it. And that gap between this affects my portfolio anxiety and this affects whether I eat this week,
Yeah.
that is the K-shaped economy in real life, not in an economics textbook, in real life at the gas pump.
I want to add something here because I think it's important. There's also the psychological toll on lower income people that doesn't get quantified in the data. When you're already stressed about money, every gas pump visit is a small trauma. You're calculating, can I fill the whole tank? Do I put in $20 and hope for the best?
Yeah,
That mental load, that chronic financial stress, it actually impairs decision-making. And impaired decision-making leads to more financial mistakes. It's a brutal cycle.
that's a critical point, and it connects directly to the mindset component of wealth building.
Right.
It is physiologically harder to think clearly about money when you're under financial stress. The research on this is overwhelming.
So we've painted a picture. The economy is K-shaped. The bottom half is being squeezed. Gas prices are surging. Lower-income Americans are being hit hardest. The administration's approval on cost of living is at 29%.
And JP Morgan puts the probability of a full U.S. recession at 35%. That's not a majority, but it's not negligible.
No.
1 in 3 odds of a recession is something you have to plan for.
So the question becomes, what do you do about it? And that's what we're here for today. Because doom and gloom is not our brand.
It is absolutely not.
We are talking real reality, and now here's how you win.
Right.
As we see it, the 2026 economy is K-shaped, but that gap can be crossed with the right strategy.
Before we get into the 10 strategies, I need to talk about something that most financial shows skip over because they think it's soft.
Okay.
It's not soft. It might actually be the hardest thing on this list.
Mindset.
Mindset. And I'm going to make the analytical case for why mindset is not a nice to have.
Okay.
It's a fundamental economic variable. Studies in behavioral economics have shown consistently that your beliefs about money directly govern your financial behaviors. If you believe wealth is only for other people, you will not take the risks required to build it. You won't negotiate your salary. You won't invest. Your belief system functions as a hard ceiling on your income.
I talk to so many people who are incredibly intelligent, incredibly hardworking,
Right.
and they are absolutely broke. And when you dig in, there's this belief lurking underneath. People like me don't make 6 figures, and it becomes self-fulfilling.
Exactly. It's what psychologists call self-limiting beliefs, and they're economically costly. For instance, research shows people who negotiate their starting salary earn, on average, $5,000 to $20,000 more per year.
Wow.
Over a career, that's hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars. The number one reason people don't negotiate? They don't believe they're worth more.
That's a mindset problem, not a skills problem.
Precisely. So here are 3 mindset shifts I want everyone to internalize. Number 1, from scarcity to abundance. Abundance thinking says money and opportunity are growable and available to you. Number 2, from fixed to growth.
Okay.
A growth mindset says your abilities and earning potential are developable. Number 3, from reactive to proactive. Most people react to the economy.
Yeah.
6-figure earners design for it. They look at what's happening and ask, where is the opportunity here?
And that third one is what separates people who get rich in downturns from people who get wiped out.
Right.
It's the same economic event, just different outcomes based on how you position yourself.
We've seen it throughout history. The Great Depression, the 2008 financial crisis, COVID, all created millionaires.
Yeah.
Not because those events were good, but because economic disruption always creates opportunities for people positioned to see them.
And I want to add the emotional intelligence piece here. For me, part of the mindset work is emotional regulation around money.
Yes.
Fear of high gas prices and economic uncertainty makes us make terrible financial decisions. We panic sell, we hoard cash. Learning to sit with that discomfort and still make rational decisions is a real developable skill.
100%. It's about maintaining your focus and drive even when the external environment is chaotic. You don't stop building because gas is expensive. You build differently.
Right.
You build smarter.
Okay, I think we've set the foundation. Economy check, done. Mindset check, done. Let's get into the meat of today's episode.
Let's go. Top 10 strategies to make 6 figures in 2026. Let's build.
All right, we're in the main event. 10 strategies. We're going to dig into each one and talk about how today's economic environment makes each one viable.
Let's start with the foundation. Strategy number 1, master a high-income skill.
Okay.
A high-income skill is one where demand massively outpaces supply. In 2026, the top of that list includes AI and machine learning, with median salaries around $140,000 and cloud computing architecture with a median around $153,000. Cybersecurity, software development, and data science are all well into the 6-figure range as well.
And what I love about this is that none of these require a traditional 4-year degree anymore. You can use AWS certifications, Google Cloud certifications, and Coursera programs to get job ready in 12 to 18 months.
Right. The IMD Business School recommends the 70-20-10 rule for skill development.
Okay.
70% of learning from hands-on application, 20% from mentorship, and only 10% from formal coursework. So stop waiting to finish the course, start building.
And in this economy, high-income skills are a hedge.
Yeah.
If you're worried about job losses or automation, having a scarce, in-demand skill is the best job security you can have. Next, strategy 2, negotiate. Negotiate everything. Not negotiating your starting salary alone could cost you over $1 million over your career.
And let's connect this to the moment. With rising inflation and gas prices, the purchasing power of a flat salary is declining.
Right.
If you got a 3% raise but inflation is running higher, you just took a pay cut. Negotiating isn't greedy, it's survival arithmetic.
The key is that negotiation is about value, not need. Don't say you need more money because of gas prices.
Right.
Tell them the results you've produced and what problems you've solved. Anchor to value. Research your market value on sites like LinkedIn Salary and Glassdoor. Know your number.
And be willing to walk away. The moment you can't walk away, you lose all leverage. Strategy 3, build your personal brand on LinkedIn. Professionals with consistent, value-driven personal brands receive inbound job offers and consulting inquiries without applying for anything. It's a 24/7 passive income generator for your career.
And in this economy with layoffs and hiring freezes, being discoverable as an expert is a massive advantage.
Totally.
80% of jobs are filled through networking, not job boards. The best brands are authentic. They share real experiences, failures, and lessons. That's what builds trust, which converts into opportunities.
Exactly. Strategy 4,
Go remote and leverage global salary arbitrage.
Yes.
Remote work has decoupled where you work from where a company is based. Someone in a low-cost city can now earn a salary benchmarked to San Francisco or New York.
And let's connect this to gas prices. If you're commuting daily and gas just went up $1, your take-home pay just went down. Remote work eliminates that cost. That's real money back in your pocket. It's not just about earning more, it's about keeping more.
Which leads to strategy 5, possibly the highest leverage move on the list. Master AI tools to 10x your professional output.
Okay.
We are in the biggest productivity revolution since the internet. Tools like ChatGPT, Claude, and GitHub Copilot allow one person to produce the output of a small team.
This makes you more valuable as an employee, and it enables you to run a lean business that was impossible before.
Yeah.
A solo marketer using AI can now manage campaigns, generate content, and run analytics, tasks that used to require a team of 5. That person can easily command a 6-figure income from just 1 or 2 clients.
The people who thrive in this economy are not the people who fear AI.
No.
They're the people who learn it, wield it, and use it as a force multiplier.
Strategy 6. Invest automatically and aggressively. I hear from so many younger listeners who say, I can't afford to invest right now. I get it.
Yeah.
But here's the mathematical truth. The time value of money is incredibly powerful.
Someone who invests $300 a month starting at 25 will have dramatically more money at 65 than someone who invests $600 a month starting at 35.
Wow.
Potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars more just because of time. The minimum viable action is to automate it. Even $50 a month into a broad market index fund like the S&P 500 starts building the foundation.
And if you're worried about investing during uncertainty, understand that downturns are when assets are on sale.
Right.
The people who invested during the 2008 crash and during COVID built extraordinary wealth. Volatility is the price of admission for long-term gains.
Strategy 7. Build a freelance or consulting practice around your expertise. When you freelance, you own your income. No one can lay you off or freeze your salary. You decide your rate and your growth. The key is to productize your expertise. Package your knowledge into defined services with defined prices. Stop billing by the hour, start billing by the outcome.
Here's an example. A mid-level HR pro making $65,000 could package their expertise into a hiring systems audit for small businesses at $5,000 per engagement.
Right?
3 of those a month, and you've doubled your corporate salary, working part-time. And that leads perfectly into strategy 8, build multiple income streams.
With a 35% chance of recession, a single income stream is a single point of failure.
Right.
The goal isn't 5 new businesses, it's your primary income plus 1 or 2 other sources like a high-yield savings account, dividend stocks, or a digital product. If you have a digital side income, it's completely insulated from the cost of gasoline. Think about that. Strategy 9. Niche down and become the go-to expert. In a world of generalists, the specialist wins.
Yes.
If you're a general marketing consultant, you compete for price. But if you're the AI marketing consultant for healthcare practices, your competition shrinks and your perceived value soars.
Identify the intersection of what you know, what the market values, and where there's a gap. That's your niche. Plant your flag there.
Okay, and that brings us to our final point.
Strategy 10 is the synthesis. It's the wealth code itself. High income skills multiplied by AI leverage multiplied by the right mindset.
That's it.
This is how you not only reach 6 figures, but set yourself on a trajectory towards 7 figures.
And in 2026, this path is genuinely accessible. The tools exist, the information exists.
Right.
The only question is whether you will show up with the mindset, skills, and discipline to execute. The people who look back on 2026 as their turning point are making decisions today. Be one of those people.
Okay, we've covered the 10 strategies, but I want to spend a few minutes on the tactical because some of our listeners are in survive mode right now.
Yeah,
And that's valid.
absolutely. If gas prices are hitting you hard, here are the immediate moves. 1. Audit your transportation. Can you consolidate trips or work remote a few days a week? 2. Audit your subscriptions. The average American has over $200 a month in forgotten subscriptions. Find that money. 3. Increase your cash buffer.
Yes.
6 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account is your financial immune system. Build it.
And for the medium term, this environment is creating openings. Companies are cutting costs, which means they're looking for freelancers. Upskill, position yourself, be the person they call.
Right.
The 35% recession probability is not a death sentence. It's a planning signal.
And through all of it, come back to your why. Why do you want 6 figures? Freedom? Security? Impact?
Yeah.
Keep that why front and center when the road gets hard. Because it will get hard. But hard is not impossible.
All right, we are approaching the end of episode 47, and I want to leave you with something actionable.
Please.
Because a great episode that produces zero action is just entertainment.
So here's your wealth code challenge for this week. We're calling it the 72-hour sprint. In the next 3 days, do 3 things. 1, identify your highest income skill or the skill you want to develop. Write it down. 2, take 1 action toward that skill. Enroll in a course, set up a LinkedIn profile, or spend 1 hour building something.
3 things, 72 hours. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is built by small, consistent actions taken even when the economy is scary, even when gas is expensive, even when you're tired.
We believe in this community so deeply, and we know that some of you are going to look back at this episode, this moment in early 2026, as the moment you decided.
Right.
The moment you chose the top part of the K.
If this episode hit differently today, share it. Send it to someone who needs it. Post it. Tag us.
Yes.
I'm Max.
I'm Christy.
And this is the Wealth Code.
And this is the Wealth Code. Now, here's a question we'd like you to think about. A downturn forces everyone to make choices, whether consciously or not.
Right. Looking at the K-shaped recovery, which of your daily habits and financial decisions are currently placing you on the downward path? And what is the single smallest change you can make this week to start building your own path upward?